There it goes. All right. So now we got it working. Okay, yeah. Minor issues. Didn't have to worry too much about it. Uh, as you can see, I'm going to close that. I uh, just chat. I'm not sure if it's a good one or not, but I just okay, let's get this going.
Hey guys, it's Misha and welcome back to my channel. So, the newest trailer for Snow White has dropped, and this production has been a train wreck from the beginning. So, I'm gonna talk about the controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler, the Seven Dwarfs. We're gonna be breaking that down today. I want to quickly talk about the political drama with Rachel Zegler and what she posted on her Instagram story regarding Trump supporters. And she was kind enough to write, "I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred made Trump supporters and Trump voters, and Trump himself never know peace." Nothing screams Disney princess like publicly wishing misery on your fellow Americans because they voted differently than you. Not very cute, Rachel. But let's watch the trailer.
This was my father's kingdom, a place of fairness. But the Queen changed everything.
Take him away!
Your Majesty,
What did you say?
the people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated. Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Famed is thy beauty, Majesty. But a lovely maiden I now behold.
Why is the magic mirror lying? I'm so sorry. Like, Rachel Zegler, she may be an amazing singer. I don't know. I haven't seen anything, with her in it. I'm sure she's great because, she was casted. I'm sure she's a fantastic actress and singer. But it's hard to believe that the evil queen is jealous of Snow White's beauty in this film. And I'm not the only one who seems to think this. If you could read the comments on this trailer.
I look at you, and I just want to be the fairest of them all.
The queen is evil. You must flee into the woods.
This is very historically accurate. Also, Germany in this time period, a lot of black people. The CGI looks so bad.
Such a lot.
Hello? Is there anybody here?
In the original Brother Grimm Snow White, her skin was described as being as white as snow. Also having very black hair, very red lips. All of those were not just random traits. They were central to her identity. I mean, her name, Snow White, comes from her skin being as white as snow. I am so sorry. Rachel Zegler does not fit that description. Create a new Disney princess so that you can showcase diverse talent without having to erase historical and cultural identity of the character. What is that?
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing. Ghost.
What is that? They could have easily made this into a horror movie. The Seven Dwarfs, they were originally going to cast actual people, right? And they were going to make it very diverse, but then they decided to take a different approach because they didn't want to offend the dwarfism community. And the different approach means they took away that opportunity from actors with dwarfism. So instead, let's make them into these CGI nightmares. I can't imagine a child going into the theater and not crying or screaming when they see these things.
The Queen stole everything from all of us.
I'm gonna need your help.
I'm gonna be rooting for the Queen.
We're our kingdom. This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
Did I frighten you?
Right. So, you know, Rachel is not just an odd casting choice. She has stirred up controversy in other ways as well. She has called the original story outdated, creepy, weird. Actually, a good fix would have been to include that solo poly hijabi amputee. You would have checked so many boxes with one character. Snow White represents everything that is evil. She is white. She is heterosexual. She is feminine. She gets saved by the prince. This is very wrong. She has to become the prince. And Rachel Zegler has made it clear that this film is going to be different. She's going to be a girl boss. She doesn't need to be saved by a man. This is going to be about her personal growth and leadership.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign. I am.
Slight foreshadowing there, because then she became so politically involved, had so much to say about the election, about how we shouldn't know peace. Again, very princess-like, beautiful behavior. But yeah, she goes on to say this.
There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
Wrong. I don't know what she's talking about. Now, I'll admit, I haven't seen Snow White for what, like 10 years ago I watched it. But I don't remember it being weird. I think she was singing right at the well, and then he started singing. It was like love at first sight. I can look up a video. Let's watch it. Here, I was right. She's singing. She sees him. She's surprised. She goes back inside. He's singing. She's singing now, so she's happy. They're both in love. And then also, there's this whole thing about the kiss not being consensual because she was in this, you know, death sleep situation because she ate that poisoned apple. Here, he kisses her to break the spell, and it's lacking consent. Well, maybe because she's dead, basically. He's kissing her goodbye. Everyone thinks she's dead. Would you prefer her die? Because look, he kisses her, she wakes up, and she looks happy. I wonder in the movie, are they gonna like Me Too it? She's gonna get up and say, well, yeah, you saved my life, but I didn't consent. Or with Sleeping Beauty, if they do another movie, she's not going to wake up because consent wasn't given. Or Cinderella, they shouldn't do the glass slipper thing because ableism. Some people don't have feet. So yeah, what they did with Snow White here is another example of Disney trying to fix something that wasn't broken. And it's only going to get worse and worse until they realize that when you go woke, you go broke. Classic stories like Snow White are timeless for a reason. No amount of unnecessary reinvention can replace what made those stories so popular in the first place. And that's all for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think about this new trailer in the comments below. Also remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.
Facts.
It's just been the honor of a lifetime. I think any young person, any little girl, you get to put on a Disney princess dress.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
It's just been the most amazing experience.
Weird.
From D23, we now have new footage of Snow White, where Rachel Zegler seems to be turning dwarves into her own personal slaves.
Fact. I mean, the whole point that they didn't kick her out is because she cleaned the house. In this one, she becomes a boss. What's wrong with that? Seriously, what is wrong with people today?
Now you wash the dishes, tidy up the room, clean those cobwebs.
Gone are the days where Snow White does some cleaning for once in her life. No, in 2024, the age of I'm too posh to push, they're also too posh to clean as well.
And he'll use the broom.
You compare that to the original, and like that Star Wars girl showed, and Savvy said, listen to the delivery, the tone, the change in language.
Now you wash the dishes.
You tidy up the room is delivered entirely differently.
You tidy up the room.
The older one is like, you tidy up the room, whereas Zegler is above them all. She's not here to help them, she's here to command and order. You tidy up the room. You go and do the fireplace. You use the broom.
And I'll use the broom.
because that way she's in command. She's a leader.
She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Bossing around the menfolk, compared to the original, where it was more motherly.
What a cute little chair! Must be 7 little children.
Led to the house because she needed a place to stay. She thought orphan children lived there and felt bad they didn't have a mother.
You'd think their mother would. Maybe they have no mother. Then they're orphans.
So she thought she'd clean the house and surprise them.
We'll clean the house and surprise them. Then maybe they'll let me stay.
Where in the modern movie, what's she even for? What can she possibly provide? Let's face it, if Snow White isn't paying the dwarves in rent by cooking and cleaning, I'm going to assume she's staging a gangbang. But this Snow White movie, from its very inception, has been surrounded in drama. Then again, they did employ Rachel Ziegler. This seems to happen in her movies.
Do you speak the language? Does it matter? Does it matter? Do you eat the food? Does it matter?
You have a way with words.
No.
Word vomit.
Not only was there the return of the drama of who is the fairest of them all, or as somebody else said, for this to make sense, the mirror must have an astigmatism and be nearsighted. But it also faced controversy because it failed to meet fan expectations. And Rachel Ziegler decided that she was going to talk about divisive political issues in far-flung countries, immediately underneath her advertising for the movie. Issues which her co-star is on the other side of. That's got to be one awkward set, hasn't it? Frankly, I don't even know why Rachel cares, being Polish, after all. Personally, I can't wait for her next opinion about a topic she knows nothing about. Well, except that
we need to stand on the right side of history.
Maybe that's why some people were analysing the interview footage, and how her and Gal tend to have very different expressions within them. She's just like me, for real, for reals. And the dwarves look just as bad moving about the screen as they did in the original picture. They are, to put it mildly, utter nightmares, wibbling around their woodland cabin like sentient bags of blancmange. This is all on top of the original controversy, such as Peter Dinklage deciding, no, you shouldn't have dwarves in that movie.
You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave.
It's been quite a while since the previous Snow White drama. They let everything die down until Disney were forced to release another trailer. The gap didn't really help them though, did it, when it received massive backlash, hundreds of thousands of YouTube dislikes. Fans aren't happy at all with Disney's live-action version. Maybe it's because of her hair. I have absolutely no idea why they've given Snow White this hairstyle, especially when in the parks they have wigs that just give them the proper hair. Although when it comes to Prince Charming, maybe be more careful how you wave hello. And Disney needed that gap. They had to try and save things, because this is a very, very expensive production for them. It started where up to July 31st, 2022, Disney had spent $209.3 million. Although later, the Daily Mail reported that it was actually $330 million. Well, the film was supposed to have already released by now, but has actually been delayed till March next year, apparently due to the strike. Although really, it's gone through so many rounds of reshoots in that time. What we're going to get in 2025 probably isn't the same movie. I mean, I don't know if you noticed from the trailer,
The Ferris.
the rather suspicious lack of characters that we've seen previously. Someone had kicked the local homeless out of Starbucks, and they were going off to invade the next local village. No, now, after that kind of budget, Disney, no doubt, wants to avoid all drama. They're desperately spinning their wheels, realising they pissed everybody off. And please, sir, can I just get my money back? Unfortunately, even with reshoots, I'm not sure you can save this turkey. Disney's terrible-looking live-action remakes are the stuff of nightmares. Rather than honouring their predecessors, these remakes are simply wringing them dry for revenue and let artistry and history be damned. Its problems began a year ago with Rachel Ziegler's comments about the original being extremely dated.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, therefore it's extremely dated.
Its ideas about women being in roles of power.
Dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
We'll clean the house and surprise them. Then maybe they'll let me stay.
And weird love stories involving a guy who literally stalks her.
Love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
They're just out of step with the modern world. Yes, because as the modern world embraces evil, what you want is things which are out of step with the modern world. This isn't complicated. First, you tell Disney fans that the films they loved as children were crap anyway, because that's always a great defense. It was always crap. Okay, even if it was, have you considered making something that isn't? Even if you want to claim that all the original source material that people like were crap, how are you still managing to make something worse than it? If the old stuff was crap, it should be easy to improve on, and you still can't manage that.
At the end of the day, this is a story of representation.
representation, and it matters.
All you're doing in that case is just helping my argument that you shouldn't be employed. I'm telling you, that argument is not going to save your job. And second, because the general way in which time works, this is showing the Telegraph's view of history that, you know, modern things are better, older things are worse, and we're just advancing through time towards the promised land. We never could have made a mistake at any point in history that just led us down a horrific path of evil. We couldn't have done that. No, the future's better. The future's bright. The future's orange.
The future's bright. The future's orange.
Sorry, flashback to childhood adverts there. Who says advertising dollars don't leave an impact on you? No, films made before the Second World War don't tend to be that big on early 21st century girl boss feminism.
What are they for? Look at the chubby little bastards just sitting around everywhere.
Back then, Hollywood hadn't yet embraced the most evil ideology of all time, responsible for more deaths than anything else in all of human history. But Disney, they sure will now. I've remade it, and boy, do I have some evil for you.
All of the people were angry.
Like, those people that we need to educate, love into awareness.
Love them in the right direction.
No, instead, the trailer opened up with the portrayal of the Seven Dwarfs themselves. Originally believed that it first featured live-action actors of mixed heights in these crucial roles. I have a feeling they're talking about them. But rather than weather the storm over representation this would have stoked, strangely, in this regard, the storm would have been, I thought you cared about representation. It turns out you don't. You just want to put creepy weirdos into roles, don't you? How can we make Snow White look like a load of circus freaks leading a revolution against the bedroom tax? Does such an approach dispel stereotypes about shorter actors? There's going to be a lot of this, by the way. Nobody wants to use the word dwarf for some reason. These aren't just short people, it's a medical condition. It's fine. You don't have to pretend that they're just the same as everybody else. The argument has been dodged, though, as they just all replace them with CGI people. As glimpsed in the trailer, they are, to put it mildly, utter nightmares, wibbling around their woodland cabin like sentient bags of blancmange. The 22-second extended version of the trailer offers a longer look at a terrifyingly vacant dopey. It does nothing to allay the nerves.
I cannot even believe those words just came out of your face towards my face.
There's still time for emergency tweaking, if only to avoid a cat-style debacle. But in a sense, it might not be worth the trouble. Why not just spend the money on something else? Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2 have put the beleaguered studio back on top. But could Snow White and Mufasa end the winning streak? No. That's going to be Agatha all along. I mean, this trailer was so bad, even the Mary Sue came out and had to say it backfired on them because it renewed CGI controversy. Snow White woes just keep piling up, like the strange decision to cast Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Not because it's very obvious to anyone with eyeballs who's fairer between the two of them, but because the actress has been embroiled in controversy over far-flung countries. Although this was written on the 12th of August, before Rachel Zegler decided to do the same thing. Although no doubt Mary Sue would have approved.
We need to stand on the right side of history.
Now, other controversy involves vocal bigots who were enraged that Rachel Zegler was cast because she broke all references of the source material. She received tons of backlash from moral pundits who began commenting, as they always do, when Hollywood destroys the law. They also talk about the dwarf controversy, after Peter Dinklage called it backwards. However, there was a hope that Disney would modernize the story to avoid offending the dwarf community. They did. They used CGI. You can't get more modern than that. Now, I would have said if you wanted to not offend them, you could have given them jobs, or just hired actors in general, and then used camera trickery to make them look smaller. This would work the same way as the Hobbits, because one of the issues with being a dwarf in real life is that proportions can sometimes be off. And so depending what you're actually going for in a character as part of the source material, it is better to use camera trickery than anything else. But instead, the solution was to not hire actors like that at all, make them all CGI. Oh no, it's almost like our own evil has backfired on us. The dwarves are only briefly shown, but it doesn't look good. The CGI is terrible, and it gives them a very unnatural appearance. They're CGI dwarfs. Of course they look unnatural. They're CGI. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Now, personally, for me, if you want to call something a live-action remake, it has to actually be in live action. I don't want to see CGI characters in it at all. Actually, I had the same problem with The Little Mermaid. It turns out the majority of the movie wasn't even in live action. Other users described the dwarves' appearances as Uncanny Valley and the stuff of nightmares. This is truly embarrassing. Yes, but it's what you wanted. At no point do they analyze themselves and go, I wanted this. And yet, it's also crap. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it doesn't, no. Because analyzing whether you're wrong or not requires an abstraction of an idea, and they're incapable of doing that. That's just like one extra layer of complexity beyond them. No, I believe it, so it must be true. Many are blaming Dinklage's comments for the use of dwarves. However, Dinklage never suggested that the problem was with casting dwarves in the movie.
You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of seven dwarves.
I can't work out if you're lying or stupid. No, he didn't suggest that the problem was with casting dwarves. He actually suggested that the story was the problem and shouldn't be made at all. How are you going to hire dwarves in a movie that shouldn't be made? Explain that one to me. The problem was always with how Disney should handle the depiction of dwarves. Literally hard-working miners who help Snow White. What was the problem with their depiction? Exactly. There aren't many roles in Hollywood for individuals with dwarfism. That's why people have a problem with Dinklage doing this in the first place. Keep up! In fact, the studio likely had already made this decision before Dinklage spoke out. We'll get back to that. Oh, they just likely did it. Oh, I just pulled that out my arse and then started smearing it on a wall. I don't know, so I'm just going to say likely and then assume you don't know any better, because after all, you are reading the Mary Sue. It's not exactly the website for informed moral people. I've come here to see what the latest unhinged download is. But Screen Rant came out with, I think, the most optimistic title of all time. Disney's Snow White remake can break Rachel Ziegler's trend. It might actually give Rachel Ziegler a box office hit, because she's not had many of those. No, Rachel Ziegler's previous movies haven't been overly lucrative. I don't know why. Rachel Ziegler's career is a string of poor box office performers. And while this may not indicate the quality of production or her performance, it remains that she hasn't starred in a box office hit, although The Hunger Games
That's because she can't act.
does at least look as if it made a profit, even if it was the least successful installment in the franchise, by a considerable $300 million margin. Snow White could finally break this trend. I don't think there's enough masochists in the universe for it to break that trend. Given Snow White's popularity as a brand, although at the moment it looks like Disney think it's got a broken leg and plan to take it out back with a shotgun, certainly does for anyone looking for eye candy in this movie. They praised Gal Gadot's beauty and pointed out that she probably should have been the princess. Well, I mean, out of the two of them, I have no problem with her being the witch, as long as you had somebody that beat her as Snow White.
The fairest one of all.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest in this kingdom? The mirror must have an astigmatism and be nearsighted. Isn't Snow White supposed to be more beautiful? How jealous would the queen be if she was the beautiful one? Or what will the conflict of the story now be that it won't be for beauty? I don't know, with two women, it could be anything. Oh, you've got a Stanley Cup that I want? Give it here! Is Snow White going to get a poisoned apple because the queen thinks she gave her a funny look once? Despite Rachel Ziegler saying that she was so unbelievably proud of what she's done, presumably in an attempt to balance out all of her previous comments, which she hopes everyone's forgotten by now.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
I do kind of have to ask, what version of the film is it that you're most proud of? Because there seems to have been a few. The rumours have constantly been coming out that Snow White has been undergoing reshoots for basically over the last 2 years, after Rachel Ziegler's PR disaster. Originally filmed over 3 months in 2022, the release will be basically 3 years after they originally completed filming. Afterwards, the rumour goes that there was additional reshoots done in 2023, with the goal to being insert flashbacks of
The movie would have been better off if they put it out back in 2022. It would have, because it was before she opened her mouth.
Snow White, featuring actress Amelia Foucher as a younger version of Snow White, with more reshoots done afterwards. The more interesting part comes from another rumour from a source at that Park Place, which alleges that the reshoots were done for these reasons: to clean up the original version to exclude dwarfs from the final product, except one live actor. This was done to allow for CGI dwarfs to be inserted, and may have added an additional $30 million to the cost. Another set of reshoots was done because focus groups detested Snow White as she was portrayed. They brought the younger version in to try and soften the Snow White character, and alleges that a third set of reshoots just wrapped because the end result of that was still that the movie was incoherent and disjointed, so they attempted to align it more closely with the original movie, while still allowing Ziegler to have her modern evil message, albeit one that is softer and less militant. And I guess we'll be able to get confirmation of that last one when we actually see the movie, because Ziegler's comments about it 2 years ago were anything but soft.
Snow White.
And this is why a lot of people are so pissed off at this movie. They're like, no, you ruined the movie. That's what it came down to. Anyway, I'm going to get off. I got to run to the store, and I'll be back after that. So I will see you all later. Let's see. Get over to the end of stream. I just set up my kick, my other stuff as well. So we're gonna come back to this one when I come back and continue going from there. I'm just going to end the stream here, and we'll come back to this and continue hearing all the bullshit. But for now, we're just going to end the stream. Have a good one, and please, well,